This man here has motivated me in this podcasting space. He's mentored me in this podcasting space. And more importantly, you got to check out the man, the myth, the legend, Shawn Anthony. What's up, my brother?
Man, what's up, bro? That's a hell of an intro, man. First off, man, how many episodes are you at right now? You've been crushing it.
351.
Wow, that's crazy. The consistency, man, and watching you grow in a time span of knowing you, man, I'm impressed, man, and I'm proud of you and grateful that any pieces of my content has done something for you.
It has. And you know what? And I think that a lot of people here, Canada, has to know who you are, check you out, School Over Now, podcast, and just what you do, man. It's inspiring. Straight up.
That's love, man. I appreciate it. I think for me, when I think about, okay, what's the longevity? What's the real play here? I'm already thinking about the future of the show and really putting my efforts and my time into impacting schools and communities. And that's something I'm passionate about and definitely want to head, stronger in that direction.
No, I feel you. And when we had the conversation, we were talking about that app Clubhouse. You guys had a conference. It was something that was amazing. You know what I mean? The Clubhouse conference for podcasting and things like that. But I wanted to bring you back here today to talk just about that entrepreneurship, overcoming adversity, finding our why, understanding resilience. And you quit your 9 to 5 to pursue this thing full time. And I'll be honest, I never even knew that you had a 9 to 5, my man.
Yeah,
until you broke the news to everybody.
Hey, look, a lot of people. Yeah, it's so funny you say that, man. And if you're watching this, I'm smiling because I was going so hard that people thought I was already all the way in. And even when we talked, I still was there. I still was going hard. And for me, you have to pursue whatever it is that you truly want full force. Like you got to. I don't care if it's lunch breaks. I don't care if it's a 15-minute break. Dude, there were times where I would jump in the Clubhouse, and Clubhouse was a big thing a year ago. To me, it's not the same, but I would be literally on Clubhouse like after walking to my car, and people wouldn't even know, And I think if you're listening to this, whatever it is that you want to pursue, don't let a job hold you back, into doing that. So it's cool that you caught that, man. A lot of people were like, "Whoa, that's crazy."
No, absolutely, and that's the thing. Like me myself, I still work a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And will I pursue this full time? Yes, I will. You know what I mean? But it has to be those key pivotal moments for us to do that.
Absolutely.
What was your deciding factor?
Well,
why?
Yeah, man.
You said you want to do this.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of deciding factors. I think one, you got to finesse the job you have to get what you want. So, and when I say that, here's what I mean by that. Like, for someone listening, there were things I was learning about the entrepreneurship journey that I would have not known had I had not planned this correctly. Like, for example, in order for you to make a purchase of a house like that, like you have to have 2 years of tax records from whatever your business is. I started the podcast, in June 2018, but then when I realized this, I had to LLC everything that I was doing. So I LLC'd everything that I was doing, but I did not want to wait to have 2 years of tax records to make that purchases of the house. At this point in my life, at that point in my life, I had achieved high, what you would call high career ladder success. So why not use to the world and on the public, that salary that I was getting, which was very, to regular, everyday hard worker, it was a good salary, and use it to get the things I want, continue to establish my business, and then quit. So literally, as a lot of things was happening. As far as like me and entrepreneurship, this is the crazy part, bro. As a lot of things were happening, I was already ready financially. I was strapped, and I was already bringing in money from, the coaching programs that I've created. I was already doing those things, and in order to really get what I wanted, I had to get a house, and I had to get the house built. It takes a little time to build the house. So I was crossing T's, dotting I's, utilizing that job. And as soon as I got that, it was a wrap. It was at that point, it was ball game, because I didn't want to wait for anybody else. But for me, that was a moment getting my family, the house they wanted and moving forward. But also realizing that, hey, I can't do this and do that. It's kind of funny when you have meetings and people calling you and needing your help. I was a brand manager for Target. You know, before that I was a brand manager for Belk, and before that I was a brand manager for Macy's. So now you kind of see how it's all coming together, right? And now I brand manage people. But you know, that was my goal. You know, my goal was to, you know, obtain what we wanted to attain. But, you know, it was hard to have meetings, you know, on the phone with people looking for me, and also having meetings with Forbes as I'm walking to my car, you know, and it all added up like, yo, it's time to get up out of here.
I love that, man. I love that about you. And everybody needs a mentor like you, honestly. You know what I mean? I remember, I think it was Instagram, and hitting that follow button. I was doing the podcast and thing, and I see you, and I'm like, yo, who's this Shawn guy? And then it just all made sense. It's been magical, you know what I mean, and things like that. For you, adversity in this podcasting space. You talk about, you know, working a 9 to 5. You're coming in here, full-time content creator. What is one of the biggest adversities you had to overcome, and how did you pivot to make it be what you are today?
Yeah, I think the adversity is the not comparing yourself game, right? Like that, there's a reason why you do what you do, and there's a uniqueness in it that only you have that others may not. Right? When you think about, you know, the black podcaster, you know, when I started in June 2018, there wasn't a lot of black podcasts out, you know, and there was really not a face behind it. There are now multiple black podcasts, and there's faces behind certain areas and subject matters. But you have to realize, hey, what is the unique difference that you have compared to others? You know, one of the biggest ahas for a lot of people who either listen to my show or either a guest on my show is the diversity and the range. You know, like not too many people can go from, you know, Beyonce's dad, Matthew Knowles, and then go to Ed Milet, and then go from Ed Milet to Olympians like Gabby Reese, and then go from Gabby Reese to, you know, so many other people who are on TV shows or either business owners or entrepreneurs. You know, a lot of the shows that you see, they're just narrow lane, one market. I think the uniqueness for me also is that everyone can relate to the topic, right? School's over, now what? You know, I created that title, you know, basically because I remember being the only one excelling in my career, and everybody I went to school with didn't have any, you know, they didn't have the answers they wanted. They were lost. So I said, okay, you know what? I've always been told I'm engaging. I've always been told, you know, I can make people get together. I'm going to get all the game from everybody that people admire, and we're going to give it to the people, you know, and I think that's what's really helped.
I love it, man. I love it. I always see you now traveling. Man's got the Louis V. Man, I tell you, I was like, I didn't give myself one of them bags, Shawn. Like, what's going on? But you're always traveling. Your work-life balance, what is that looking like for you? You're always up in the air. You're in different cities, different states, man. How's the work-life balance operating for you?
Yeah, man. First off, shout out to the Louis V. I remember when I bought the Louis V. I bought that, and I bought the duffel. In a very short time span. And that particular time, I still was working a job, and I'm like, people were like, you know, why you buy the bag? Like, I'm about to go places, and I've been to so many places since I've quit that job, man. And in terms of work-life balance, you know, I make sure that when I'm gone for a maximum of like 72 hours. You know, I got the wife, I got the 3 kids. Like, I understand what that looks like to be having, you know, by yourself. You know what I mean? And so my max is 72 hours. 72 hours. I don't care if we're going to the West Coast. We're on 5-hour flights. I'll be back in less than 3. You know, and it's communication. They know when I get on those planes, they take me to every plane. You know, they pick me up from every plane. You know, I'm not calling an Uber to go to the plane or an Uber to come back home. It's them. You know, and I think about work-life balance is they know that I'm on a mission. You know what I mean? To get something and bring it back home. And at the same time, I'm still in contact. You know, and I try to limit myself a little bit to maybe saying, hey, you know what, I'm only going to travel 2 times this month, you know, and then I might have, you know, a month where I might be home for, you know, the entire month, you know. So since I've been a full-time entrepreneur now for almost 10 months now, and there's probably been there's only been 2 months, May, and I think, which is now, you know, in another month where I actually stayed home. I think it was December. So December, because of Christmas and all that, those were the only 2 months where I actually like, you know what, I'm going to sit still just for this. But those other months, like you said, bro, I've been all in the air, bro.
I feel you. What's the best part of traveling that you like, though?
Oh, it's connections. They come so easily to me, and it's so genuine and so real. And I think that and just seeing, like, you don't know what's possible until you see it. And that's the truth. You know, if someone say, hey, what's the biggest gem in the world? That sounds corny. It is that. You know, if you go back and you think about people maybe in your town, maybe in your small home town or wherever you're from, you know the 5 or 10 people who haven't really been anywhere, but like they everybody cousin, they everybody friend. You probably can see them at the grocery store or the gas station, and chances are they're probably still there because they haven't seen much. You know, if they saw more, they would probably leave or at least, you know, have some different type of experiences. So I would say, you know, that is it, man. The connections, the experiences, they last a lifetime. You can be you can be at your lowest point and you can look at your phone and remember when you were, you know, sitting somewhere across the water or sitting in a surround that you couldn't believe. You know, I think now I remember being in Beverly Hills, man, and I was in Beverly Hills and I was like looking just like in the backyard in Beverly Hills and just seeing all the hills and like the pool and the jacuzzi. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I almost wanted to pinch myself like, yo, somebody really, like they really out here living like this. Like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like something you see on a movie, but like, I'm here, you know? And I think just seeing this possible, that's the game changer.
I love that you say that, man, because this podcasting can just put you in so many different lanes. You get to interact with so many different people through Instagram and social media and you up in the air, you know what I mean? Like you walk through and people see you and they're like, yo, that's Shawn. Look at Louis V. Shawn, we call you.
Well, let me tell you something though that I've done, you know, and you know, now, you know, I represent, you know, several different clients and helping them, you know, brand themselves and brand shows. We'll probably get into that. One thing I've done now that I recommend anybody to do, and it costs, but trust me, it's worth every single penny, is first class. Like you got to do it. You got to do it. I probably drop a post right after we get off this, but you have to do the first class. And the reason why is because once you like get into those seats, once you like you never go back, because it's not about just the abundance of ordering anything you want, having anything you have. It's also the people that you will meet. You know, I've met, you know, very successful people, you know, in first class. I've sat beside actors, owners of companies, you know, business people at high levels, and they think differently, they move differently, and the conversations are different. You know, I never had that type of experience whenever I would ride, you know, just, you know, basic or economy or whatever, you know, and I know it costs more, but it's worth it. It's worth it because you've worked hard and you deserve to, you know, be able to grab whatever you want out of the basket versus wondering if you can get anything, you know. So I would advise that highly.
I'm about to write that down. First class,
you never go back, man. You never go back. And,
yeah,
and you'll look at the ticket and you'll be like, man, you know, I've paid some very high prices for some, like when you go somewhere far, you know, on the West Coast, you know, you're talking like a 5-hour flight. You know, that first class 5-hour flight is a couple thousand. Like, it's a little different, especially if a lot is going on. You know what I mean? But it's worth it.
But would you call that investing into yourself?
Hell yeah, that's a huge investment to yourself because you're investing into the future version of you. You know, you're investing into that. You know, and there's a lot of advantages by doing that.
Yeah, because it's like you think about you fly first class, there could be that actor that could be now a new podcast guest,
absolutely,
or land you into something where it could create some sort of conversation about maybe somebody that you've been trying to get to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what I always say is people should never sleep on conversations, especially where I work at my 9 to 5. There's a lot of people that come in and it just comes up in conversation naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do, you just build from it. Now, I'm not going to sell and advertise myself because work is work, but just like, hey, what's the connect? Hey, do you have a business card? And then you make those conversations behind the scenes, you know?
Absolutely, man. That's it. I think the way you look at it is like, okay, what can I, you know, how can I help this person? You know, or you know, when I meet people now, it's more of like, who do I know that can like take them to the next level? You know what I mean? And it's like a Rolodex. One of the things I've done recently is I started to, you know, compile a list of all of my connections, literally a spreadsheet of all my connections, all of their Instagram connect, all their social media, all of their locations where they're physically at. And like to look at that list, it's crazy. You know, but it's also, it tells me that there's a lot of things we could continue to do.
Absolutely. Where's that one place you want to travel to as far as maybe finding a new client, a new connection, maybe even hosting a podcast, even in that venue? Where's that one spot?
That's a good question. You know, I know a lot of people in LA. I know a lot of people in LA. I would probably say I probably see probably get the most done around LA and Vegas. Seems like it to me. I just feel like Vegas is one of those places where I've probably seen the most people at one time. In LA, I organize stuff and I get everyone around me, but Vegas, man, you literally can be just chilling and so is already there. So it's like a hub spot, and it's probably why that ticket price is probably the highest to fly.
No, I feel you, man. So you talk about this podcast and things like that. What's that number one tip you can give the audience today when it comes down to brand awareness, or when it comes down to podcasting?
Yeah,
that you can give to us.
Yeah, I say the number one tip is you have to find out like what you do the best with the least amount of effort, and I think you have to pursue that and have conversations around that. And then also too, pay attention to what other people are saying about you. Chances are that's your gift because you're not even trying. And for me, I identified my gift by those job reviews. I would have job reviews where they would, literally give me exceed expectations, and they would just say things that are now what I'm doing. They'll say, "Oh man, the way you connect with people is next level. Like your collaboration skills and like your networking skills." And I paid attention to that. If I had a presentation, I paid attention to like the people that would like literally zone in on what I was saying. Then I started paying attention to people that were talking about how my voice sounded. And I was like, oh snap, this is just all me. This is just God-given gifts. Like it's just me, and I just started to utilize that. I started utilizing my voice. So someone listening right now, you may be having conversations about a certain subject or topic, and all your friends keep coming to you for that topic. That's a key indicator that, you can really pursue that full force.
Love that you say that. When you think about your podcasting platform, what is that, or what has been that interview that you've done that really said to yourself, I've done what I've done and I'm here and I can really take this thing and sail off with it?
Yeah, two come to my mind. Obviously, the probably no brainer for a lot of people is Ed Millett. He don't do interviews, man. He rarely does them, and he'll tell you that. I probably seen him maybe if I try really hard, maybe do 5 interviews. And he doesn't do them. He's a well-known, as you know, podcaster, but also he's a well-known businessman. When I interviewed him and we were in Laguna Beach, what he said to me off camera was life-changing. He said it, not saying off camera, but more behind the scenes. And I shared it one time on Instagram. I might pull it back. It was just a behind the scenes clip. And he literally looked me in my face and he was like, yo, you're different. You look like nobody else in this space. If you stay consistent at this thing, you have the right guests, you could take off. And they get that, that confirmation. And like episode 42, it just fueled me to be at where I'm at now, over 200 plus episodes. I play that back a lot in my head. And then also a more recent interview that I done last year with Ryan Blair. He's probably the first 10-figure entrepreneur I ever had on the show. He sold his company for almost $800 million, and Ryan Blair, that interview was insane. I've heard it from other people. And then I also met him in person later on after we did the interview at his house. But that one challenged me to think about me as a person, me as a dad, and where I want my legacy to be.
I feel you. And where do you want your legacy to be?
I mean, there's people, I think anything you want, right? Like anything like you want right now, there's somebody who's done it. And there's somebody who's done it, but they haven't done it with your style and your twist. So I think you have to first identify who are those people. They've left you clues. They've left you some clues. And it's like, all right, cool. What can I pick up from those clues to do it my way? So for example, like the podcast is continuously evolving. It's leading me on to more and more things. There's 2 people that I look at them and I'm like, yeah, that's it. But I want to do it my way. And that's Scooter Braun, and that's Rich Paul. Scooter Braun, Rich Paul, and then I'm studying right now David Geffen. And literally when I say studying, like the book is right here. Here's the operator. And the reason why I say those guys is because my ability to connect with others and collaboration skills has now allowed for me, with also the brand managing of all the things I've done for companies, has now allowed for me to brand manage, talent and people, and nobody is doing that in the entrepreneurship lane. They're doing it in sports. They're doing it in the music, but who's doing it in the entrepreneurship? And I'm going to be that guy.
I love that you say that, man. And like I said, inspiration to us all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like,
You probably should know Scooter Braun from that Justin Bieber, that Canada, that affiliation, and
we'll see what happens, man. You know, I'm so humble because there's so many great people that you get to talk to in this space.
absolutely.
And it's even more humbling when they even email you or they hit you up in a DM on Insta. Hey, what's going on? How's life?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, wow, it's amazing. And you probably get that a lot too.
Yeah, man, it happens, and when you do so much good for other people, what's going to happen to you is that they're going to start literally saying, I've had, very successful people say to me all the time, man, what can I do for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you do so much good for them. You position them in the right places. You introduce them to, connections that can change their business. And I think that's important.
No, I feel you. All right. Well, before we get out of here, I want to have some fun. This is a question I always wanted to ask you. You're traveling, you're in the vehicle, you're in the air. What are you listening to in the iPhone? What music you listening to? What you jamming to now these days?
It depends on who album just came out. Like right now I've been playing Future like crazy. So like I left Vegas and Future released his album literally while I was in Vegas. So that was one of those good 4-hour flights where it's like, all right, we'll play him. We played it like 2 or 3 times. Our Future is one, Gunna is one, Dirk is one. It depends on what mood I'm in. Rod Wave is one. I'm a real, hip hop, that type of vibe. It depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm on something chill, and I might play somebody that I don't normally play, because they create, a mood or an environment. It might be Vince Staples, so the range is crazy.
I love you say that. Well, Shawn, I appreciate you like always, and we got to get you over to this side of the board.
Man, we gotta do it, man. You gotta let me know what's happening out there. We'll line it up, and then we'll do it, bro.
Hey, maybe there's a Drake interview over here for you.
I like that.
You never know,
I like
you
that.
sit in the room in the same time doing that.
There's something I watched that's really heavy Canada bass. It's called Fire in the Booth. With Charlie, I watched a lot of those, man. So I definitely will pop up out of there.
No, for sure. Where can everybody check you out? Plug the podcast, and what's new? Is there a special guest lined up sometime down the road, or what we got coming?
Yeah, man. The podcast is School's Over Now. What you can find me and follow me on all social media platforms at Shawn Anthony _. And probably what's new and what's coming. I've taken. You'll be the first one to hear this. I used to be on Clubhouse heavy. But the ROI and everything is a lot different now. I am currently taking like my most top, I think it's the top 6 most highly listened to conversations. And for those people who are listening right now, I built a community on Clubhouse of 44,000, people in Podcast Secrets Revealed. I've took the top 6 conversations and I'm creating a course out of it, and it's going to be, 6 weeks. It's going to be cohorts. And how do I know it's the good stuff? The stats shows me it's the good stuff. So I'm going to do that. I think it's important that whatever you do in life, however you continue to evolve, whatever you did or are currently doing very well, you have a product behind it that's evergreen that people can learn from. And this is going to be it. So that's coming.
I love that. Is there a special release date for that, or
it'll probably drop within the next 30, 45 days. I'll announce it.
All right. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, I'll be on the lookout for that.
Most definitely,
Get that
bro.
shared out to everybody and whatnot. You know what I mean? So, again, Shawn, this has always been a pleasure, man. And to just chop it up with you, have conversations, keep going, keep doing your thing. And much love and appreciation to you. And everybody, check out School Over Now. What podcast with Shawn Anthony. And we're out of here.